As lockdown dragged on, one journalist asked Scott Morrison the question that many Australians want to know the answer to.
Something I think many Australians want to know the answer to. When can we go to the pub?
Remember the pub when you had to put on pants to drink a beer? Tell us, Mr Morrison, when do we get to go?
The first step to getting back to that is downloading COVID Safe. Now, if that isn't an incentive for Australians to download COVID Safe, I don't know what is.
Well, maybe if they called it the Pub Opener app, they'd already be at 20 million downloads. And it's not just the pub. They're also saying that if we want to go to the footy, we have to download the app. Although you also have to download the app if you never want to go to the footy. I'm looking at you, Gold Coast. So, with kids going back to school and workplaces still a hotbed for coronavirus, that means we can drop the kids off at school, but we can't go to work, and we can go to the pub and they'll be showing the footy? I got to tell you, COVID is the best thing that ever happened to this country. But spare a thought for India, where police in Chandigarh have resorted to extreme measures for apprehending criminal suspects in the age of social distancing. Wait for them to stand still and then grab them with a long pair of barbecue tongs. It's kind of like playing a skill tester, but instead of getting a stuffed bunny, you get a felon who apparently lacked the wherewithal to avoid a policeman with a giant pair of tongs. With the world in the midst of a medical emergency, Australia turned to the one person we can trust to put the needs of the public first: a billionaire mining magnate.
Mining magnate Andrew Twiggy Forrest has secured 10 million extra COVID-19 tests for Australia. His Minderoo Foundation has already bought in 10 million detection kits from overseas. The foundation set aside $320 million to fight the virus. Yes,
Twiggy, seen here blatantly violating TLC's no scrubs rule, got us 10 million tests and it didn't cost us a thing. Except the $320 million we actually have to pay back. And what does he get? Well, he gets to pretend to be the boss of Australia, tell the government to back off China and delay its inquiry into COVID-19. And then do this.
Billionaire miner Twiggy accused of blindsiding Health Minister Greg Hunt by inviting a Chinese Consul General to speak alongside him at an official event in Melbourne.
Spoiler alert, the Chinese Consul General thinks the Chinese government is doing a great job.
The Chinese government has released information related to the COVID-19 in an open, transparent and responsible manner.
Why is Twiggy helping China's PR? Well, a cynical person might say because it helps his own PR. I'm just glad that, unlike China, here we have an independent media to hold Twiggy's feet to the fire.
It's been labelled an ambush. You've been accused of effectively hijacking a media conference. You didn't tell the PM's office. You didn't tell the Health Minister's office. It's almost like you performed an act of treason.
What a scream.
Treason. Hang on.
This is the biggest non-story ever.
Well, I certainly agree with you, but it seems to have been made into a huge story.
Well, wait, don't agree with him. Is Twiggy even playing for our side?
I'm the most Australian person I know, mate. I run the oranges out to the game for Australia.
Well, he procures the oranges through his charitable foundation and then sends Australia the bill. But, you know, same. So what's going on, Carl? It's almost like you're sucking up to him.
You'll always be there and I'll always be here sucking up to you. Nicola, you really are married to a real man, aren't you?
Oh, come on, Carlos. The interview is nearly over. You have one last chance to retain some journalistic dignity.
Twiggy and Nicola, thank you so much for your time today, as I like to call you the King and Queen of Australia.
And arise, Sir Carl, the palace eunuch. One of the nice things about the crisis is seeing state and federal governments actually working together. But with Victoria keeping its students at home while others return, Federal Education Minister Dan Tehan popped up on Sunday morning to take the Victorian Premier to school.
The question to Dan Andrews is, sure, take a sledgehammer to defeating the coronavirus, but why are you taking a sledgehammer also to your school system?
Dan was pretty happy with that one. Used sledgehammer twice. Take that, other Dan. I'm sure nothing else would happen also on Sunday that would make that seem foolish.
His outburst came just a matter of minutes before the announcement of an outbreak at a Melbourne primary school.
We have had a teacher test positive at Meadow Glen Primary School in Epping.
And then, still very much on Sunday, we heard this.
In a statement, he withdrew those comments, saying, quote, "It was this frustration that led me to overstep the mark in questioning Premier Andrews' leadership on this matter, and I withdraw."
In politics, they call that falling on your sledgehammer. Some happy news from the UK. Prime Minister Boris Johnson welcomed bouncing baby number...
He's a new father again for supposedly the 6th
time. It is Boris Johnson's 6th child, possibly his 7th.
Hang on, let's go through the numbers here. How many marriages?
2, and now he's engaged again.
Right, and how many children?
4 from one marriage, and then another one from an affair, and now 1 more that we know of.
Right, okay. Gee.
You'd think the guy responsible for Brexit would know how to pull out. With no answer on the baby count, Kochie moved on to ask some questions that were entirely appropriate for the workplace.
What do you see in him?
Well,
why is he so charismatic? Nat, would you... Does he rock your boat? Get your juices flowing? No.
No.
Kochie, nut means nut. But it is hard to know exactly how many children Boris has, even when you go straight to the source.
How many children do you have? Look, I love my children very much, but they are not standing at this election. No. And I'm not, therefore, going to comment.
Ah, but how many children are you not going to comment on? Oddly, that's still not the most cool and evasive Boris Johnson has been.
Boris Johnson even retreated into a giant fridge when a reporter tried to persuade him on live TV.
Hang on a second. Modern milkman? Well, that explains all the kids. And that's the week.